Have you ever just looked around and felt like the world is on the edge of some massive change? Well, today we're going to dive into a really provocative text called The Dawn of Restoration, which says that's exactly what's happening. We're just going to unpack its core message, this idea of a huge spiritual shift happening right under our noses, and really get a handle on the worldview it's presenting.
And man, this text just grabs you right from the start with this line. Instead of seeing all the chaos in the world as something to be afraid of, it completely reframes it. It says it's a sign that we're all waking up. So this isn't about the end of the world, it's about the birth of a whole new way of seeing things. It's a really bold way to kick things off.
So, the first big idea here is that humanity is standing at a major crossroads. The text argues this isn't just another moment in history. No, this is the definitive end of one era and the start of something totally new.
And you really got to pay attention to the wording here. It doesn't say the old age is fading away. It says it's dissolving. And the new one, it's pushing forward with unstoppable force. That kind of language is meant to give you this powerful sense of urgency. Like it or not, this is happening.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because it takes on this super loaded term, the last days, but it completely redefines it. It's not about apocalypse and destruction. It's about the end of a way of life, a world that it claims is built on all the wrong things: resentment, division, and what it calls spiritual blindness. So, if we're at this massive crossroads, who's supposed to be the guide? Well, the text introduces these figures it calls the true parents. And for some context, this text comes from the Unification Church, and true parents refers to its founders. In this worldview, they're seen as the key messengers for this new age. The big thing they're stressing here is how immediate this message is. The argument is, look, this isn't some dusty old scripture or an echo from the past. It's being presented as a living, breathing declaration spoken right now for the problems we face today. And this quote, it really nails down their core directive. It's a direct, personal call to action. The message isn't just something to think about. It's a demand for a massive internal shift, a change from being spiritually asleep to being wide awake and acting out of love. So what does this big transformation actually look like in practice? The text has a name for it: restoration. And it lays out a pretty specific vision for how to heal the world, starting, believe it or not, at a very personal level. This lays it out in a really clear side-by-side comparison. You've got the old world on one side, defined by selfishness and broken families, and on the other, the new world, which is all about living for other people and restoring those family bonds. It's basically a total flip from a me-first to a we-first way of thinking. And the text doesn't just leave it at theory. It offers this clear three-step path. It says global change has to start small, right in the family. Once that foundation is solid, then you can work on healing your own internal resentment, which then, and only then, lets you make that final shift to a life lived for others. This quote is what really drives home the sheer scale of the vision. It's connecting the dots, right? It's saying that these little personal actions have a massive global impact. The idea is that by healing your own family, you're basically creating a blueprint that can go on to heal entire nations. But, anytime you have a message this radical, you're going to get some pushback. The text knows this, and it actually addresses the opposition it fully expects to face. And it's a fair question, right? If the whole message is about healing and love, who on earth would be against it? Well, the text anticipates that question and points its finger at a very specific group. It points directly at the religious establishment. It even draws a parallel to the time of Jesus, saying that established institutions, well, they often get scared of new revelations because it might challenge their authority and their traditions. From this point of view, a living truth can feel like a threat to a comfortable old structure. But even with that resistance, the tone here is one of total confidence. This quote frames the opposition as something that's just part of the process, but ultimately powerless. The whole movement is described as heaven's providence, which basically means it's part of an unstoppable divine plan. And this all brings us to the end of the message, which circles right back to you, to the individual. The whole thing is framed as this urgent moment in history that demands a personal choice from every single one of us. The big takeaway here is that you can't just sit on the sidelines. The text is arguing that this isn't a spectator sport. Every single person has to make a conscious choice. Are you going to cling to the old world that's dissolving, or are you going to help build the new one?
And just to be super clear about the nature of that choice, it's not based on fear. This isn't a message about destruction. It's an announcement of rebirth. It's a call to build something, not a warning that everything's about to collapse. It's all framed as a project to lift humanity up, not to condemn it. This line might just be the most powerful summary in the whole text. It brings that opening idea completely full circle. The last days gets totally reframed again, not as an ending, but as the real beginning for all of humanity. And we end on this final powerful statement: the new world is beginning now. It just leaves you with this incredible sense of immediacy. This isn't some promise about a far-off future. According to this text, the change is happening at this very moment. And the question it leaves us with isn't just if we'll choose a path, but realizing we're already choosing one with every single thing we do.